What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of A Couple Subs. I'm your host, Cody Crane. With me, as always, my lovely co-host, Kristen Crane, aka Kiki.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Couple of Subs. So our guest on today's show is one of our good friends, Mr. Will Taylor. He is owner of Glory Bound Gyro Co here in Ocean Springs, and has got his hands in a few other businesses as well. So without further ado, let's dive right on into this. Welcome to the show, Will.
What's up? I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
I meant to say Maestro. Welcome to the show, Maestro.
There it is. I was waiting on it.
I hope that's a story we don't get to, but we'll see. Man, it's good. Good to be here. I've been watching the episode, a few episodes here and there. Man, y'all doing good stuff. It's fun.
Man, thanks for coming on. I know it was kind of last minute, but perfect.
Yeah, we went to so I'm wearing the Royal Horses shirt that I got at your restaurant this past weekend. They're all amazing. They're so good.
The boys are good.
They are.
That's all you can say about it. They're good.
Yeah, so we saw Will at the Glory Bound this weekend, and we were watching some Royal Horses and got him on the show. So
Caught me at a good time.
That's right. All right, Will, so give our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Oh, man. I guess, let's see. Well, I was born and raised in West Point, Mississippi, North Mississippi, not very far from here, but up to the north side of things. Went to school there, went to Oak Hill Academy in West Point, graduated from there, and then went to Shelton State Community College in Tuscaloosa. Played golf over there, and then played golf at Southern Miss. So grew up on the golf course, had no idea where it was going to take me. Took me down a different career path, as you see now. Wasn't quite good enough to pull that career path off, but went to Southern Miss, ended up there in Hattiesburg, and then just kind of migrated down this way a few years ago whenever we opened the Glory Bound location here. So
Okay.
So I want to kind of throughout the show, unfold your entrepreneurial background. It's interesting to me that, you go into Tuscaloosa and then Southern Miss playing golf, and I know my old stomping grounds in Starkville was Mugshots.
Yeah.
I know that you were, one of the original owners in that. Was that your first entrepreneurial venture?
Well, I was not an owner. I was actually one of the few guys. We had a small staff back then. The guys that created Mugshots were Ron Tavell and Chris McDonald. And they opened the first one there in Hattiesburg, and I happened to graduate shortly after they opened the first location in Hattiesburg, and was just there all the time. Probably should have been out looking for a job. Didn't make many interviews, and then they just asked me if I wanted to work there since I was there all the time. So
you may as well.
I did. That's exactly what happened. So they gave me my first post-graduation job at that Mugshots location, and man, it was awesome. Stayed there for quite a while, and I guess the cool thing about it it was a small group. It was just a group of guys that loved what we did. You really didn't have a job title. You went and did everything. You'd be cooking one day, you'd be working the door the next night, you'd be go bar back the day after that. You just did everything. So it was kind of cool to come up in that, and the experiences that I gained from that are without a doubt what helped me get to the point and make the decisions that I'm able to make today.
So that's what kind of put you into the the food, beverage, entertainment.
Man, that was my first job in the food and beverage entertainment, and I was more interested, I guess, at that point in the nightlife of things.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget the first day that Ron called and was like, "Man, we're short a guy in the kitchen. Come drop fries and buns." I had no idea what I was doing. Never been in a kitchen before in my life, and just went in there and just dropped fries and buns. Just because it's what needed to be done.
Yeah,
but
getting things done.
Yeah, that was my first, I guess, real intro into the food and beverage industry, without a doubt. And man, it's been a hell of a ride.
So how long did you work there until you decided, you and Chris decided to open up Glory Bound?
It was about 4 years, starting just after '05, and then we opened the first Glory Bound location in December of 2009. So good, the 4 or 5 year mark there.
Yeah.
So
it was good. Hattiesburg was first, right?
Yeah, we opened the first location there in Hattiesburg in 2009. The summer of 2012, we opened our second Glory Bound location in Tuscaloosa. Alabama.
Okay.
So
So going into like whenever you and Chris first opened up Glory Bound, like I know you said you had 4 years experience, working with the Mug Shots group, and how long did you think about it? Did y'all just go for it, or did you like sit down and like crunch the numbers, do the everything?
Man, I was, I guess, so eager to like just, I guess, leap and take a jump.
Yeah.
And which, I think a lot of that goes back to, I have to say it goes back to my dad, because my dad was an entrepreneur also, owned his own business. He owned a golf cart business in West Point for 35 plus years, and I was out there washing golf carts every day when I got done with school. But I don't know, you get to a point to where you're like, okay, let's do something. It's just time to do something. And then, we did that, and, it's a risk, as all major, anytime you open a business, it's a risk. So, we just did it. We took a leap and figured it out as we went, to be honest with you, because when you talk about just the brand of Glory Bound and what it is, it's different. I mean, it's completely different. It's not a type of food or cuisine that a lot of people are used to. So we figured that out in the early years, that you just have to make it as comfortable as possible for people. So that's kind of what we did, over the years, until we got ready to branch off into Tuscaloosa and then start to grow the brand,
So is that a brand? Like y'all came up with that brand? Like, where did the
brand or the bread?
The brand?
When you said the bread, I was like, no, I'm no baker. I can't do the bread. But no, the brand, yeah, we created the brand. We actually took a trip to Greece and backpacked Greece for 13 days.
Wow.
Met a lot of people, ate a lot of food. We flew into Athens, and then after we got into Athens, everybody was like, y'all got to go hit the islands. So we actually took a boat taxi to a couple different islands, and we stayed. The first island we went to was Hydra, and they had no motorized vehicles on the entire island. You pull in on a boat taxi every day at 7 and 5 in the afternoon. A boat came with all the supplies for everybody that lived on the island. So it was the most peaceful place I've ever seen in my life, and we stayed there for a few days just because we enjoyed it so much. So you get to meet people and just learn. Like, we were just over there eating and learning as much as possible.
So that was like a R&D trip.
If you want to call it that, yeah, we did some R&D without a doubt.
So you had already decided to go the whole Greek route, and then you went to Greece and kind of to learn and all that.
Yeah, just to try to put it together.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're in South Mississippi.
It seems like a strategic.
Yeah, it does.
We're in South Mississippi. Let's do Greek food.
Well,
how did you come to that? Yeah, how did you pick that?
We want to do something completely different. And if you look now, everything that we do now is it's different. I would, I say but we prefer to push the box as far as we can push it. Anytime that we do something, we want it to be a little different, be our own, put our own little spin on it. So when you talk about, we knew that we wanted to do gyros out of the gate, just because it was something different. It was a sandwich, if you will. And I know people are going to listen to this and be like, well, how do you really say it? After the whole Luke Bryan and Jimmy Fallon thing that they did a few years ago. But, even over there, it was funny that depending on what island you were on, it was a little bit different. If you went to Athens,
nobody really knows how to say that word.
I tell everybody all the time, you can call it whatever you want to. I'm just glad that you're eating it.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be serving it to you. So, but we knew we wanted to do that, but we also knew we wanted to put our own little spin on it. So while we were over there, we were just kind of figuring out the brand. What could we possibly do with this? How could somebody relate to that's never had it before? You have to kind of think of those things before you can go open the doors and be like, all right, well, here it is, come get it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we did on the R&D trip.
I feel like the only time I've ever had a gyro, and I hope I'm saying it right, but the only time I've ever had one until starting to go to Glory Bound, I eat there a lot now.
Yeah.
But before that, the only time I can think of, Mud Island, what is the music festival?
Yeah. Euros
Bonnaroo or whatever.
Yeah, there.
No, Memphis in May.
Oh.
So that's, for some reason, that's a big festival meal. It's like a cuisine that you'll see a Euro truck at every festival.
Every one.
Which, to be honest with you, I've had a few myself there. Obviously, Kiefer's in Jackson was another big location. They did it, but they kind of did the more authentic thing. In which, that's like I said, we wanted to do something completely different. So that's kind of what we did. You know, we got back and played in the kitchen for a few weeks, put together a menu, and then rolled out a menu when we opened, and that thing changed every 6 months after that, just because, you know, you roll it out and you get feedback, and this is working, this isn't working. You just had to adjust it on the fly, you know, just to get it to a point to where we were extremely comfortable with the brand and comfortable enough to, you know, take it to another location, another town, another state.
So since Chris, you know, is one of the original founders of Mugshots, and then you and him are the founders of Glory Bound, is it a sister company of Mugshots, or is it just like completely separate?
No, it's separate.
No,
completely separate.
Okay, all right. Well, kind of walk us through, like, I'm interested in, like, the early stages, you know, especially with you just coming out of the kitchen for 4 years. Like, walk us through that process of how you started. I mean, I know you said you went to Greece and kind of did all that, but
it's actually pretty easy. You just work all day, every day.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the process. There was no other. I mean, you just had to. I mean, that's all it was. Which, you know, even then, you know, even though you're in an owner role, you're still learning. I was still learning. You know.
I saw you serving a couple tables this past weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it never stops. You know, you just have to do it all. In which I was watching, I guess it was the podcast with Cam and Kane, and they're like, you know, whenever you do a business, you have to do it all. And that's literally, you really have to do it all. There's no doubt about it. And this industry is no different. And, you know, in the service industry, if you will, there's a lot of different positions. You know, you might have to host, you might have to serve, you might have to be the bartender, you know. A lot of times you got to be the janitor, whatever. You know, you just have to do it all. But yeah, I mean, that was it in the early days. We were in there day in, day out, you know, morning to night, working the entire time, and just figuring it out. That was it. That's all you could do.
Well, so I know there had to be at least a couple of these, but was there ever a point where you're just like, oh shit,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna like this. This is
that.
a bad idea.
I had that moment. Actually, not very long after we opened the first location. You know, like I said, we were in there day in, day out, and payroll day, you know, and it didn't, just like service industry and anywhere other industry, everybody else has got to get paid before you get paid.
That's right.
So
yeah.
I think it was our first payroll, and, you know, we did a lot of the work on the building ourselves just because, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of funding, and, you know, you just had to do it. And the first payroll, Chris came in, we started to pass all the paychecks out, he hands me mine, he's like, here's yours, by the way, you can't cash it. I was like, all right. So there it was, immediately into it. It's like, this is not going to be just, you know, all bells and whistles. Like that was my moment where I was like, all right, this is going to be interesting. We got to get it. So you just work harder, you know.
Just make you that much more hungry.
That's it. That's all it is.
I mean, you kind of make your mind up at that point, like, all right, it's time to.
Yeah, that's the
Time
point
to
of no
hustle.
return.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do? Just say,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know if I like this. No. You're in a lease. You're in an agreement. Like, there's a lot of things that go into that. So you just have to get after it.
Well, besides your paycheck, what are some of the other sacrifices that you've had to, you know, give up and go through in order to make this business successful?
Man, it's where do I start?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, I mean, and I say this all the time. I don't know why I struggle saying this, but like, there's been times where I've like literally put my life in front of put the business in front of everything else. You know, in which, you know, I'm not married, no kids. I've literally worked constantly trying to grow a brand. I think a lot of people don't understand what that takes. You know, especially in an industry that is so competitive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the restaurant industry, it sees ups and downs just like any other industry, but, you know, 16, 17, you saw a decline in the industry just simply because there was so many seats. It's just super competitive at that time, you know, and there wasn't enough people to put in those seats. So that also, you know, putting the personal life on hold just to get the business going, that has been a big thing as well, and a moment we kick around every now and then.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, I wouldn't change anything.
Well, that's work for you for sure.
There's no doubt.
I know the reason she asked that question, we had talked about it earlier, you know, it's so often for somebody to, cause, I mean, anytime somebody sees you at the bar, like, hey, Will, everybody knows Will, you know, but I mean, a lot of people don't understand, they just see the successful business owner. They don't understand the grind, the sacrifice, and everything it took to get there. They just say, well, Will owns
They don't see the hard
favorite
times.
bar. You know?
Yeah, and which, it's understandable, and I guess the way that the public looks at a lot of things, and I'm the guy in the back room all the time. You're never gonna see me up front waving my hand saying, "Hey, here's this, that." I'm gonna be in the back, but it's the public. A lot of times can look at a place and see how busy it is, and they'll be like, "Oh, this place is doing great." They have no idea that how much the light bill costs. They have no idea that that ketchup bottle has a number that's sitting on that table, what the overhead is, all the employees. Like it just, it's just that perception of, oh my goodness, this place is packed. There's a lot of people in here, super successful. Well,
There's a reason behind that.
Number one, a lot goes into that, but then number two is like you have to the processes and procedures and the numbers part of it is what determines the success. It's not driving by saying, "Oh, it's packed." You got to dive into those numbers on the back ends of it, and which I think that's what I learned early on to become more of a processes and procedures kind of guy and really study the numbers. We've had a pretty good team, that have been. I'm no math guy by any means, but I can dissect a P&L pretty good, and a lot of people had to help teach me that, so I think that's a funny thing, how the public does view that, but then at the end of the day, as the owner, you're like, okay, let's really look at it here.
So sometimes I guess, driving by and just seeing it packed.
Which is all the time.
That means, which is all the time. That means, it's a popular place, but I guess you can have a lot of people there. If you're not running your books right,
you're
not going to be successful.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, man. It's a lot, and I think to me, I love a challenge. Like I have to have something in front of me, something to go chase. And I think my golf background is ultimately that, because you're talking about a sport that you're trying to be perfect at that you can't be perfect.
Yeah.
It's one of the hardest sports in the world, and I think that coming up playing that, I started when I was 3, but coming up playing that and being super competitive in that has led to my, I guess, desire and hunger in the business industry too, because you have to always figure it out. Like I said, everything that you sit down at on a table has a number on it, and it's like, what is that number? And you have to look at it that way. And I had to learn that. I didn't know it. I had to learn it.
I would guess that, that ties into every industry.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I was going to ask, so, we had asked you, tell us about your oh shit moment, this is not going to work, or this is about to be, really hard. Well, now tell us about, when did you start to really see, y'all grow and to see the benefits of your hard work, paying off?
Well, I think, going back to the story also, when you talk about the brand, we opened our second location in 2012, and then in 2015 we opened locations in Covington, Louisiana, and Birmingham, Alabama, and we did that within 30 days of each other, and they were 6 hours apart. And so
that was quick.
That was quick. In 15, I think I packed my car up in February of that year, and I didn't get out of it until a year and a half. I was just on the road constantly, which occasionally there would be a trip to Hattiesburg and get to sleep in my own bed for a little bit. But, working those 2 stores, and when you look at the brand, it's not always been, just, the success part of it. We had to fall down and fail. We closed those 2 locations after we opened our location in Ocean Springs, and I think having to, opening a restaurant is one thing, and you get the joy and the excitement of that, and here we go again, it's awesome to be able to, for us, we do give backs every time we open a restaurant in whatever town we're in. So, people come out, we turn around and team up with local organizations and give back a portion of the proceeds during that, and that stuff's fun. But on the other side of that, when you have to close an unsuccessful restaurant, it's not fun. And it's just, I think having to go through that was also one of those moments of okay, we got to work a little harder, and to me, I didn't think I could, but really I could have, so having to close those locations and getting a taste of failure, if you will, or, that kind of was eye-opening as well, which, you talk about the entrepreneurial stuff, and we used to talk to the entrepreneurial class at Southern Miss, all the time, every year. And we stopped whenever this growth came, and the growth came too quick, and we weren't ready for it, which is ultimately why we had to turn around and close those Glory Bound locations down. But I tell everybody all the time, I'm like, man, I got a story for them now. Like, let me go back and really talk to them, and because when you're riding that high, if you will, and you're opening them and they're great, it's all fun until you have to close them, and then it's like, all right, well, take a step back. Why do we have to do this? And you just fix things,
And it's not easy to do. Nobody wants to do that.
No, it's not. It's extremely hard, but man, you learn so much from it. So much from it.
For sure.
That, you hear people all the time talking about you have to take a step back, in which we had to do that. I had to do that myself, and you can't pay for that amount of knowledge that you learn from that.
Oh,
so
for sure.
It was a good thing now. Good thing now, hard at the moment though.
Oh yeah, that's my brother showed me this picture one day. We were talking about something, and it was something that I didn't want to do at work. And there's a picture of a lion, had blood running down his face. Said everybody wants to be a lion until it's time to do what lions do. You got to make hard decisions as an owner, but it's for the better of everybody.
There's no doubt about it, and in which I think one big thing. Also, too, and when I go back to talking about just this industry, there's so many moving parts. There's so many people. When you have a large staff, you have a bunch of different people. Not everybody has the same personality. Not everybody has the same work ethic. It's like you have to. You're a continued educator, without a doubt. I think that's what I really had to learn, was because in the early years I was trying to do it all. Like I wanted to do it all. Like it was like I feel like I wanted to do it all just because I know it's going to be right. And it took literally one of my buddies, Nick Chichester, who is the franchise owner of our Glory Bound in Tuscaloosa, took me to the side and was like, man, you can learn a whole lot more from this side of it. Like just watch and teach instead of being the doer. And once
delegate.
Yeah, exactly. And then oversee, but that was a learning moment for sure. But in the industry, you have that all the time. I mean, even now, it's like every day you're just educating someone, you're just a teacher day in and day out, and which to me that's fun because I love being around people and I love the challenge of it too. It's awesome. I think probably some of the most rewarding things that I've gotten would be people that have worked with us and left and went and chased their dream and did whatever they wanted to do, and then they come back and they're like, oh, I learned so much. And to me, like that's pretty good. That's awesome.
You got to give somebody the opportunity that you got.
Man, I got this quote I share with everybody all the time. Opportunity is missed by most because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. And, we talk about that. We talk about that in our meeting all the time. But yes, having the opportunity to give somebody else an opportunity is rewarding when it comes to this.
Nope, good.
No, that was it.
I was going to say that was very well said.
Yes, it was. You had said something earlier that kind of struck something with me. You said it's not no matter what industry you're in, it's not always easy to find the right people to run your shit for you.
Yeah.
Well, we go through that in our industry as well. Well, how do you find that team, your A team, that's gonna represent you and Glory Bound and the brand that you've created?
There's no doubt about it, man. It's something about a logo, huh? Like when people, and I tell all of our staff this, is like when you put that logo on, one of our core values is gratitude, and it's like you have to understand like what it took to get that logo, and all the people, and not just me, and not just McDonald's, but like everybody had a part in getting that brand to where it is now, to where you get to put the logo on, and it's like, okay, well. You're a direct reflection, and for me now, I guess one of the best things in which I mainly run the day-to-day operations in Ocean Springs, and McDonald runs the day-to-days in Hattiesburg, and we're heavily involved in the hiring process. Like I'm sitting down with people that are applying, and I love interviewing people because, just like I said, I love talking to them. I want to know their story. I want to know where they go. And anytime I interview anybody, it's like, well, what's it gonna be? Because not everybody's in this industry right now, especially, there's a lot of turnover. But not everybody's coming to work for you with a dream of saying, one day I'm going to have my own restaurant. A lot of people are coming to work too till they go to school to be a nurse or something like that. So for us, the challenge is, all right, well, what can I help them learn? Like, is it people skills? Is it time management? Whatever it may be. And then when you start investing into those people, you see the return. And I would think that was a big thing for me personally, was once I stopped trying to do it myself and put more time into teaching everyone, then you start seeing more of a return out of it. So that was, once again, another learning moment. There's a lot in this.
Well, that's another.
I was about to say,
answer.
once again, well said. That was really, really well said.
You actually answered one of my questions. Like,
am I passing the test?
yes,
Nice.
blowing it out the water.
A+.
So
Perfect.
I mean, in our industry also, we get turnover. We lose, we lose employees for reasons like, well, this company's going to offer me a little bit more money, but it's hard for me to explain to them, but they ain't giving you no benefits. They're not setting you up for the future. You don't see it. I'm trying to teach you. But anyways, what you said about investing in people, that's something that we do at FL Crane. Like, we want you. I've had people come to me and like, look, I really think it's time to go out on my own. I think I'll be 80 years old one day and wonder what would have happened if I didn't do it. And they're grown men be crying to me like, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave y'all, but I'm scared that if I don't do it now, I don't ever think, like give them a pat on the back, let me know how I can help you.
100%. Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
that makes me proud.
yeah, I agree. It does. It's kind of like a father moment or something, where you're like, all right, well, I put the time, I put the effort, I put the investment. They got so much out of it, and then, go chase your carrot.
And you think, like, just like you talk about mug shots, that guy that, I'm like, yes, go. Let me know if I can help.
Yeah, man, look.
You think he's ever going to say anything bad about FL Crane? Any
Yeah.
chance he gets, he's going to be like, FL Crane's a great company.
100%. No, which, I think one of the things, I did the whole business, got the business degree at Southern Miss and all that. I couldn't tell you a lot from the college days. I don't know very much that I did learn, but
Same.
being there, you learn it by doing it and the experience of it and on the fly. And that was something that I learned and I watched. I watched it firsthand, the investment that those guys made in us and our small group, and that brand, man, just being able to watch that brand grow into what it was, being the Mugshots brand, you learn, like you see, it was good to learn those types of things, in which, once you transfer that over to the Glory Bound brand and going through the ups and downs, and then now really focus and being in a good spot with what we're doing and hopefully getting ready for another growth push, obviously, not making the same mistakes that were made in the past.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time by all means, but it all plays into it. You can't just sit here and say, oh, it was this one moment. No, I mean, it's been a lot of different moments that have made everything, both the good and the bad. So
Is that
it's
how
the
you
journey.
feel? Yeah, there you go.
It's just the journey.
Is that how you feel like you've been able to stay ahead of your competition? Is by, like, I know that you said, obviously y'all are different, you try to do things different, but other than that, what do you feel like is how you've, kind of beat your competition, if you will?
To be honest with you, I like being in areas where there are a lot of it. To me, if you find that, then you found the right spot. Like, when you look at the locations that we had to close, the locations weren't there yet. Were they coming? Yeah, probably, but we might have been just a few years ahead of that. And it's tough. It's tough. But once you find an area that is super competitive, and you take like downtown Ocean Springs, for example, I mean, it's just the area. Like, people are drawn to those types of areas, and I'm not going to say that one thing or another thing leads, might be the difference in us being better than anybody else, because we're not better than anybody else. And I tell everybody all the time, we're pretty good. We have a lot of processes and procedures, and we've learned from a lot of our mistakes, but we got a long way to go. Like, we can be a lot better, So, not complacent by any means. We're trying to be better every day at what we do.
I tell you, the way you just said that made me think about the construction industry and what we deal with. I talked about it the other day in a conference call. Like, we want to be competing for, so we bid for jobs, and we have competition that way. We want everybody that bids on that job to be like, on the money.
Mm-hmm.
We want everybody to be the same, because if some, two guys in a truck come bid it, they're going to be $100,000 lower than everybody else, and the owner doesn't know that, so he's going to take it. We want to surround ourselves with good competition too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it just keeps everybody
Keeps you on your toes.
doing your best.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. It keeps you hungry.
Yeah.
You have to be.
Do your best, and whatever man wins, fine. But I like the way you said that. You want to be around good competition. That's the exact same thing in construction.
You have to be. There's no doubt. I felt the same way when I was playing golf, or even playing any sport. You want to play the best.
Yeah.
You want to be around the best. So, and it just brings the best out in you.
Yeah.
100%. I'm
Very
with
true.
that.
Well, what is your favorite part about being a business owner?
My favorite part about being a business owner, to me, it's like I said, the people. Like it's the stories. It's an understanding of, for me, there'll be a lot of times where we'll hire somebody at like a location that I'm not at, and I just might happen to be there. They'll have no idea who I am, and I love that. I absolutely love that, because it's like I get to see them as who they are.
You got to drop some fries and flip some burgers.
Undercover boss over here.
No, I mean, it's not undercover boss by any
Just
means.
kidding.
It's not undercover boss by any means, but it's fun to go get to know people like that,
Absolutely.
Because to me, that's when you're real, Like you catch them right there at that moment. It's like, okay, I can see who you are now. Like I see your personality, I see your work ethic. I'm watching all the details, and so it's just the people part of it. Like I absolutely love the stories, and I have to know what everybody else is doing with it.
Well, speaking of stories, I mean, you were talking before we started this podcast about, I got some good stories. Even this past weekend, we were watching Royal Horses. You were like, I can't wait to go on your podcast. I got some good stories. Let's hear them. I'm ready.
I know being in the food, beverage, entertainment industry, like you've seen some things.
Ain't
no way you hadn't.
Yeah. Saint.
I just put you on the spot.
You
I
did
totally
just put me on
put you on the spot.
I think when I was referring to the stories, it was more along the lines of business stories.
Oh, I gotcha.
But like stories, man.
Where do we start?
Where do you?
Give the people what they want, Will.
Man, I
bet
don't know who I was going to watch
I know,
this.
I'm
I
kidding.
can't get them all.
I bet it is a very, very hard, but at the same time, like fun, entertaining industry.
It's never a dull moment.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It also, I mean, it never sleeps. Like, I mean, it's this business and being, and that was one thing that I was also talking to somebody else the other day about, is like, it doesn't sleep. Like, you're the call at 6:30 in the morning when the driver can't get in the building, and then you're the call at midnight at night whenever something may happen, or when there's time
Somebody
to close,
loses a phone or something.
or somebody might happen to lose a phone that they're trying to track down the next day.
Yeah.
So you just never know. Like
right.
it does not sleep. There's always something going on. There's never a dull moment.
I bet.
But to me, that keeps it interesting. Like I like that.
Say, yeah.
Like it's I guess I'm that type of person, and I tick that way, that it's like, okay, got to keep moving, got to keep dealing with things. You got to just keep putting fires out, So
I know we have to deal with vendors and suppliers and all this and that too. Same as y'all. Like I'm trying to put the two industries kind of together.
Yeah,
here.
related a little bit.
I guess, is that something that you've had, like somebody just really, really screwed things up and like,
I don't think so.
Not
Like
really?
no, like I mean, we've been fortunate enough that we've used the same suppliers for quite a while. So whenever it came time to open a new location, it was just, hey, I need A, B, C, and D. And that partnership to me is the biggest thing. Like I like that. And it makes it, because at the end of the day, it's not that as a business owner you want your job to be hard. You want it to be easy, just like everybody else is easy. So it's like, okay, well, what partnerships and and what companies are going to help me make that easy, you know? So finding those and then maintaining those, I think, is a big thing too, you know? So having the same vendors, and then also, you know, I don't even call them vendors, to be honest with you. I just call them partners, because at the end of the day, they're a partner in this thing too.
That's
you know?
right.
That's exactly right.
Same with us.
Yeah.
We call it business partners, actually.
Yeah.
Well, you got to create your A team. I mean, because they're a huge part of the end result for the customer.
There's no doubt about it.
But it takes an educated, you know, knowledgeable, aware owner, boss, whatever you want to call it. Just, it takes somebody that is aware to put that A team together.
Well, I think a big part of that too is being engaged in it, is what I say. Like if you're engaged in the process and you're there and you're overseeing it and you have a hand in it, it's so much easier than not, you know, and which, you know, this is the restaurant business, and everybody will tell you, I heard the restaurant business is the hardest business. It's tough. There's no doubt about it. I'm not going to say it's the hardest because I'm not familiar with other industries, but this industry, if you have a hand in it and you're on top of it, then it makes it much easier than when you're not.
You got to like live in it, literally.
Or on top of it. Or on top of it, yes.
Oh, well, speaking of that, how did like COVID affect y'all this year in this industry? I mean, it really, y'all took, I feel like y'all, that business or industry took a really big.
It was crazy to watch and crazy to see, to be honest with you, because it's, you know, I had no idea last January or last February that it was ever going to be like that, and which obviously when you start hearing the first reports, you're just like, okay, well, how bad is it really going to get?
It's still in China. I'm not worried about it.
Man,
the next day.
Yeah, the restaurant industry took it hard, and man, it is. I wish that the government could have done more for it, because when you look at small business, independently owned restaurants, and Robert St. John is a big guy that has been on the front end of this, talking with Washington and letting them know, aware of the numbers of what's going on. But man, the industry took a hit, and during that time also. You know, personally on our level, once you get hit with all the restrictions and all the guidelines, and they changed every week, you just have to adapt. And for me, you know, a lot of times I'm the guy that everybody goes to for the answers, and I didn't even have the answers because it was so much uncertainty. And I think the uncertainty part of it, being on a week-to-week basis, was the hardest thing, you know, because we try to plan all of our stuff out weeks, months ahead, you know, quarters ahead, but being in a situation to where it's, I don't know if we're going to have to, you know, let people in next week. All right, well, maybe we can have 10 tables, you know, and you just, you weren't sure, you know, that was the hardest thing. Then you know, the employees, you know, obviously getting the benefits that they got during that time. So, getting people to work was a challenge also.
We're the same.
Did you have to let anybody go?
We furloughed a few employees, but it was, you know, a lot of the people actually stayed, and, you know, they wanted to be there, in which, you know, I relate that back to the relationship part of it too, you know, not just being a boss in a sense, but, you know, a lot of people that work for me here in Ocean Springs have also worked for me at other stores, you know, so they were right there. They knew that, you know, hey, we got to step up. And you know, when you're doing nothing, I mean, we went, I think it was a month or two where we did nothing but to-goes, and you couldn't even come in the establishment. You had to wait on the sidewalk to pick it up. You know, it's all different. I mean, you just run into so many different factors, and you just have to adapt. Like, and adapting, I think, then was the hardest thing. And there were times when all this was going on, and you know, you're obviously inevitably going to have an employee test positive, you know, and then you're closing down, and you're bringing the cleaning crews in, and they're making sure everybody gets checked. Every time, you know, and there's times, you know, I will tell you that you look in the mirror and you're like, man, God, it's hard. Like, it was extremely hard. It was tough, but you also just, like I always say, put your head down and run through it like a bull, and you're good to go. So, but we're still adapting, you know. We'll see what happens, see where it goes from here. But the uncertainty part of it was without a doubt the hardest thing.
Yeah.
That's what I don't know if. I hope it does, but with these vaccines, I don't know. Well, like, that affected the way everybody lives forever.
There's no doubt.
Like, you're going to see hand sanitizer stations a lot more than you did in 2019.
I think I've had one in my car for the last year, and I never. It stays full. You know? Like I mean, I'm the same way. I've adapted. You know, it makes you think.
Yeah, I mean, you got to. You just adapt and overcome.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
Well, tell us a little bit about the other ventures that you've got going on right now. I know you're also the proud owner of Will's Gun and Ammo. Is that right?
What an authentic name.
I know.
Hey,
I where did you come up with that?
I bet Gun and Ammo is probably doing pretty good right now.
Yeah.
I guess, the business is booming. I mean, when it comes to guns and ammo.
Keeping the shelf stocked.
That's also a challenge that you're having to overcome. Yeah, man, it's, it's hard to, explain where it's at now just because of everything that is going on. I mean, obviously, just like any other industry, manufacturing's obviously taking a hit, so stocking shelves is tough. And as soon as the shelves get stocked, they get unstocked.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's, man, that journey's been something. Look, my parents both lived in West Point, Mississippi. My dad's always been a gun guy. And whenever they moved to Hattiesburg, they both retired. And, and I'm curious of how I'm going to deal with this too, but I don't think I'll ever be able to retire. But like when you retire and it's like, all right, well, what do we do, And so there was a little bit of that. My mom mowed my yard every day for like 3 weeks, I think. Completely wore the lawnmower out, and to the point where it's like, Mom, the grass isn't growing, We got to find y'all something to do. And so I did. I opened a gun store for them just because I knew it was a hobby. My mom kept books at Mossy Oak for a long time. My dad obviously was a collector and had his own gun business at one time as well. And so it just became a hobby for something for them to do, which, it gave them a purpose, to be honest with you. Like they enjoyed it. They loved it.
Somewhere to get up and go
exactly.
to.
Exactly. Now, if there's a car show around, you might not catch them there. You might catch a sign on the door that says, closed until next week. I know that every year cruising the coast, they're down here not worried about guns and ammo by any means. But, it's something fun for them to do, without a doubt. And I'm glad we've been able to do it. It's still going, still in West Hattiesburg out there. Your boy Dozier's got a gun before out there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, good customer.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's fun. We enjoy it. They enjoy it. I like to be honest with you. Like I said, my dad, tough guy, entrepreneur himself. So on his business card, it actually says "Works for Will." I just want I want him to keep him in check and let him know who the boss
hilarious.
was. So,
well, I tell you what, doing that for your parents and just the way the cards fell, but at the same time, that's diversifying your portfolio very well. The restaurant, entertainment industry, beverage industry goes down. Times are hard. People are frantic, don't know what to do. What goes up? Guns and ammo.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely no Warren Buffett, and that wasn't planned. So I can't sit here and say that it is. But yes, now that you put it
diverse,
now that you put it like that, that was my plan all along.
Yeah.
Sure, you didn't plan that out.
I definitely
People
did
get
not.
freaked out and scared. What goes up? Guns and ammo.
That's pretty good.
That's a great
Pick up
point.
the slack,
But
Mom, Dad.
It was maybe I need to give him a raise, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was not planned that way by any means. I am no Warren Buffett.
Well, all right. So I know that you can't really give a whole lot of information about this next venture, but kind of just brief us on what's coming down
Get
your...
the people pumped up.
Yeah, get them pumped up.
Man, it's so we are, the Glory Bound brand's been here. It's been around for 10 years. We opened the first location in 2009, so 11 years now, I guess. But throughout that time, we've just always, all right, well, what's the next move? What can we do next? And so, I guess diving back into the folders that are on the desktops, you're like, okay, well, we're putting together another concept. We're about to open the first location in downtown Ocean Springs over the next few months. Looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting and it's going to be fun. It's going to be different. We're going to do brunch, lunch, and yes, as what we do. Mm-hmm. But we're going to do brunch, lunch, and dinner. So small condensed menu. I think there's probably 35 to 40 total things on the menu, which includes sides and the kids menu as well. So everything's a home run, if you will. So
nice.
Oh.
It's going to be interesting. We're looking forward to it.
So you said about when, maybe?
Probably mid to end March, somewhere around in that.
Oh, that's
frame.
not too far.
Yeah,
It's not too
at
far.
all.
Yeah, it's been
I saw him working on it the other day when we were down there.
Yeah, there's been we've kept it pretty hush hush, so it's
Well, I know whatever y'all bring in there will definitely stick and definitely last.
No
I'm glad
doubt.
to see that in that location too, because it's prime. It's great location.
look,
And
it's downtown Ocean Springs. Man.
Yeah.
That's
we
our downtown.
That's
Yeah.
That's it. Speaking of, when I was driving out here, I hope y'all Uber down there, right? Because
Oh, yeah.
This is a drive out
Yeah.
here.
It's not.
I mean, it's not too far.
I mean,
It's
It made me think
12,
about it.
15 minutes.
I know,
Yeah.
but I was like, man, I hope they Uber back and forth.
Yes, when needed, we definitely Uber always, every
That's
single
great.
time.
When you're not on the party bus.
That's
that I
right.
saw out
Oh,
there
no.
too.
Yes. Did you see
I
that?
did see
My
that.
favorite parking spot is. I'm kidding. I leave my truck downtown for sure.
Good idea.
I'll
Yeah,
drive
yeah.
to you. I'm getting a ride home.
That's good. We just plugged Uber right there. I don't know if they're gonna throw some like free rides or something, but we just
Oh,
we just
nice.
gave them a
Yeah, we
plug.
did.
What's up, Uber?
Yeah. Hey there.
Let's get what
Do we need
can
to
out
do
of
it
this.
again?
Yeah, maybe.
That is Uber, ladies and gentlemen. You got to contact them anytime you need a ride from downtown Ocean Springs.
Well, Will, thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Man, I loved it.
I've
This is fun.
enjoyed this. It's been fun.
Wait, I'm not ready. Hold on. There's one more question.
Oh,
One
go
more
ahead,
question.
baby.
So
Sling it.
before we get out of here, we always like to ask, as a business owner, entrepreneur, all that, what is your advice to other, kids or not anybody that's wanting to start their own business, especially in the
The
restaurant
Will
industry?
that was in at Southern Miss and didn't know what he wanted to do was like, but he knew he wanted to do something. What advice would you give him?
Man,
There you go.
that's a good question. To me, I would definitely have to say figure out the path in the industry and go get in it. Like, you have to go get in it. You have to work it. You have to really turn into a sponge. The do's, the don'ts. I mean, the don'ts are just as more important as the do's. And what mistakes not to make. I think you have to be in the industry. I think you have to work it. You have to have a general understanding that, hey, this is the path. Because once you make that commitment and say, this is the direction I want to go, you got to go. Like, you can't go at it 75%. You can't go at it 50%. You got to go.
It's got to be your job.
You have to put everything you got into it. You got to give it 100, because if you don't give it 100, it's going to be tougher. I'm not going to say that it's not going to work out, but it might not work out as quick as you may think. I think that was the biggest mistake I made, was like, it's going to be instant success. And then next thing you know, you got one payroll, first payroll. All right, here's my check, can't cash it. 'Cause everybody else has got to cash theirs. That was my biggest mistake that I made, was like thinking that it was going to be instant success, and it's not. You have to literally put the days in every single day. Another guy I like to read all the time, John Gordon, did this thing about how to become an overnight success, and his first line says you got to work hard every day for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, you work hard every day for 10 years, you fail, you figure it out after you fail. Next thing you know, some things work, and then the whole world says, where you been? And you're like, well, I've been here the whole time, you just didn't see me. And
I
it's
love
like,
that.
that's an overnight success. Because
Yeah.
there is none.
There is
Yeah.
none.
You have to make it, and it's gonna take years and years to make it that way. But get in the business, figure it out of the gate, learn the do's and don'ts, and then make the commitment. That's the biggest thing. You got to jump. Once you figure it out, you have to jump.
Feeling froggy, you got to leap.
Man, in which, look, I love it. And I go back to that class at Southern Miss, the entrepreneurial class there, man, talking to those kids, and you can see, you got some hunger in there, and it's like, well, what are they going to do with it? But I also think the guidance, man, talking to somebody in the industry means a lot as well too. Like,
Absolutely.
you have to learn as much as you possibly can. That would be my advice to them.
So I love asking that question. I can't believe
I know. I was like, what?
Yeah, I know, that's my favorite question. But I'm starting to see like a pattern with everybody we talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Get in there, get your hands dirty. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Find somebody that, to mentor you.
Mhm.
Like, go after it. Don't sit there and think that it's going to happen, because it's not. So,
Yep, you gotta work for it, that's for sure.
I think I've been looking at y'all the whole time. Forgot all about the camera up there.
We never look at that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
When we
No, but I just
borrow
want-
it
I,
from
I
Right.
saw you.
Said
That's the only time I noticed when you did that. I was like, oh. Damn, the
when we
camera's
borrow
up there.
it from Brandon Davis, we never look at it. He's like gonna make us get our own now.
That's funny. Well, let me throw this in here. We're talking about construction in our
Mm-hmm.
industry. I think over the last probably 3 to 4 years, I'm starting to realize how important construction is in the restaurant industry and how these things are designed and laid out and the flow of them for one, but then also just being able to incorporate everything. Like when I say incorporate everything, I'm talking about all different styles, your families, your individuals, like everything. Like you're seeing a lot of these different brands come out and they're touching each one of them. You
Yeah.
know, they're getting, a little bit of the bar crowd. They're obviously getting the food crowd. They're getting the family crowd, That's been pretty interesting. And we've actually done that at our store in Hattiesburg. We've extended a deck out back and, put some live entertainment out there and a lot of picnic tables and stuff. And this is all my business partner and his vision. McDonald had all that. It wasn't me. I'm more of the processes and procedures guy. I guess he likes to touch his inner Ty Pennington or something and can design a few things or something. But it's been fun to see how that plays like a big role in it.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Changed the whole game.
100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it all starts with a vision, like you just said. So
I think that's
I
key.
mean, breaking down what y'all do is, shoot, I've never thought about it,
yeah.
It's like, play some loud music, have some good food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
how do
that's
you do
not the
that if you
case.
want, like,
Like,
your
there's
family?
a lot of different things that go into what y'all do that I've never thought about before.
Yeah. It's the timing of it. It's the placement of it. There's a lot of different factors for
Yeah.
sure.
The niche.
Yeah.
Dude,
You got
I love it.
You got to hit it right on the head for all of them. 'Cause if you don't, you'll hear about it. I assure you.
So after this podcast is over with, are you going to tell us what's coming in March? The new brand?
Oh, I did. Did I not? Did I not tell you?
No.
Yeah. So it's a new
Wait.
so basically, it's going to be called the Lady May.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to
Here we
have
go.
kind of in a sense, a vintage theme in a way.
I'm going to have to figure out how to snip this shit out.
Do you need
Well-
some vintage furniture? Because I'm your girl.
Need some plateware. All of our plateware is like old school
Got
plateware.
it. Got
Yeah.
it. We'll
No,
chat
it's-
further after this.
Yeah, it's going to be called the Lady May. So it's going to be a market, a kitchen. So we're going to have a market up front because since we're having such a small condensed menu, everything's going to be handmade, from the sauces to dressings to the biscuits to all that. So we're going to have a market up front that's going to sell all the stuff that we're manufacturing in-house. Obviously the kitchen, and then the other part of the tagline is cocktails and dreams because there's going to be some cocktails flowing as well. So
Nice. I love
it'll be
it.
a cool little thing for sure.
The Lady May.
That's
All right.
it.
You heard it first right here.
There you go.
Right on.
Got it out of me.
I did. I didn't mean to do that.
No,
I know
that's
you
perfect.
were like,
No, I don't mind this time.
okay. All right.
Mic
Here we go.
drop.
Yeah, mic drop.
It's time.
And there it is. Well, thank you for being on our show today, Will. We really appreciate it.
I've enjoyed it. This is great. Y'all
Yeah.
keep doing the good work.
So we know now what the maestro has for his next venture. Where can all the listeners go to find out more about what you do and your businesses? And do y'all have like social media or where
Yeah,
you at?
each store individually has their social media. The new brand will also have their social media. That's really about as far as it goes at the moment. We do have plans further down the line to do some more things on that side of the industry and the business. Just haven't gotten to them yet.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, just gotta
Take
keep
Yeah.
gotta keep going.
Love
Gotta
it.
keep moving.
Awesome. All right,
Man,
Will.
thank you so much for being
Enjoyed
here.
it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So if y'all like what you heard today, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all the fun social media avenues at coupleofsubs.com. I mean at Couple of Subs, and our website at coupleofsubs.com.
That's it. Till next
Well,
Till
time.
next time.
Thanks, brother.
Enjoyed it, dude. That
Hell
was
yeah.
fun.
Yes, thank you.